Billy sent us some notes and set references, and there were a lot of stars and moons, and it was kind of similar to the album cover. And we loved the album cover, and we thought, well, what does this remind us of? And then it hit us that it was very similar to the turn-of-the-century films of this French filmmaker named Georges Méliès. He was most famous for this film, A Trip to the Moon. So with that, we came back to Billy and we showed him some of the films, and he had seen some of them, and we all knew this was the idea. It then became a challenge of just how to create a sort of true-to-form silent era film. So we gathered a team of art directors and designed the sets and built them in this grand scale. I mean, they were enormous. We had to get the biggest stage we could find. The trick with Georges Méliès's work is that it's all theater flats. He made films at a time when film was in its infancy, and he really came from a theater tradition. So it was this giant series of flat paintings, and the paintings all looked like they had depth on them, but it was all painted on. It was all painted shadows and painted highlights. So we built this giant set and then staged the action.
Darcy loved the sets, so she arranged to have the sets shipped to her farm. So if you go to Darcy's farm, she's still got the sets in her barn.
What's kind of tricky about it is that you really create this giant scene, and there's really only one good camera angle. Because if you move the camera a little bit to the right, you see beyond the flats and you start seeing, so it was really tricky. I just remember feeling really nervous about how we were doing this, all this stuff, and basically for one shot.
We hired these guys, these stuntmen who came from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So all the Moon Men are experienced gymnasts, and in fact some of them I think were Olympic athletes. What was cool is that we had these early films as a guide, so we really studied them and looked at the way people moved, and we looked at sort of the primitive effects.
The hand crank cameras have this great gate weave. You know, the whole picture kind of
Shakes.
Moves around, which is great.
I remember when we first got a cut of the video, we were on a bus somewhere and we put it in and everybody's jaw just dropped. It just looked so incredible. You just knew it was a special video.
With the Moon Men, they're clobbered by the couple, and when they get hit, you simply cut, everyone freezes.
Stop rolling the camera.
You put a little splash pot and then they finish the action, and it pops and it's awkward, but there's a certain charm in just the primitive effect.
And it all happens so fast. That part of it was really fun, I think, like making it and just kind of working in such a primitive way. The great thing is you're kind of watching it exactly how it's going to be. It was more like directing theater than, you know, a video.
The performance shots were actually very hard to do because we had to film each band member separately, and then each band member had their own cloud they were standing on, so that had to be done separately. Each shot is about 20 to 30 layers of different pieces.
I remember getting the treatment which Jonathan and Valerie wrote after we shot it, and I watched an edit of it. I remember thinking this is really, truly the first time I had read a treatment where it came out exactly how it read. This is an incredible story. This is an incredible treatment. I wonder if they're going to be able to pull it off, and they did.
The great thing about this video is you just knew it was something special because the moment it was on TV, everybody, and I mean everybody on the street that you would meet wanted to talk about it. And I'm not just talking about fans of the Smashing Pumpkins. I'm talking about like the guy parking your car. You go into a restaurant and the waitress who's 52 years old was talking about it. It was just one of those videos. For some reason, it just connected with everybody.